Not to disappoint you all right off the bat, but there's nothing really unique about the RWBY fandom. I've been paying close attention to the RWBY community for over 3 years now, and I have never seen anything as stupid as what I see from the Star Wars, Naruto, Rick and Morty, or even Steven Universe fandom on a weekly basis. And half those are fandoms I'm not even a part of, so they're probably even worse than I know. The RWBY fandom has no shortage of dedicated fan artists and fanfiction writers. It used to have a pretty deep theory community as well, but now that more questions are being answered than raised, there's not so much room for those. Anyway, RWBY doesn't attract any higher level of autism than any other fandom, just like how Rick and Morty doesn't attract any higher level of intelligent people than Michael Bay's Transformers. If you think it does, you're probably part of the problem. On that note, hatedoms aren't really a thing either. People can like and dislike whatever they want. The people who have been ragging on RWBY are people that were invested at some point and really enjoyed the show and have become dissatisfied with its current direction. I don't agree with those people. I think RWBY has improved from where it began, and I think Volume 6 is the best volume, but they have a right to their opinion. The only problems come when you project your own bullshit collectivism onto everyone you happen to disagree with. And that's a question worth pondering. How come stories about individualism, taking responsibility, and having unique personalities and abilities attract so many people who would rather put everyone in a collectivist box and make sure every minority checkbox is marked? Did we learn nothing from the absolute train wreck of a cartoon known as Captain Planet? Just to provide an anecdote of what I'm talking about, shipping. People like shipping. Human beings have attractions. Romance is the most natural thing in the world and the easiest way to make a character feel real. But having ships doesn't change what actually happens in the show, so it's asinine to declare a ship canon absent any actual evidence. Being canon and being cute are two very different things. I'd say most people get that, and shipping wars can be a lot of fun. Check out the Quintessential Quintuplets fandom sometime. That whole show is a 5-way shipping war. But you do have some people that are violently angry with other ships. Then you have people who will attack others that they even agree with just for being tolerant of other ships. It's a goddamn love triangle for fuck's sake. You're not going to die just because your OTP might not become canon. Switching gears, the difference between RWBY and most other shows is that the creators are very active within the fandom. They hire fan artists for their shows, they talk about fanfiction, and yet they're strangely out of touch at the same time. The only other creative team I can think of that comes close to that is Star Wars. I get the appeal of sticking to your guns, but ignoring the issues the majority of your fans have, blocking critics and filtering out any challenging or bummer questions is bad form. And it makes you look like you're not trying to create something compelling, it looks like you just want your ego stroked. Case in point, Barbara Dunkelman's run-in with Floof at RTX. And before anyone goes, "Bolt media," in regards to Floof, remember that back then, Barb didn't know who he was, and neither did you. But he spent hundreds of dollars flying from Seattle to Austin, dealing with that Texas heat, and paying for his hotel and food and the outrageous price of RTX. Then he asked a real simple question with plenty of easy answers. How did John get Pura's armor? Barb's response was to get all pissy.
No bummers. I'm just kidding.
It's a cartoon!
It already
This is the woman that was running community relations for RoosterTeeth. This is the person they recently promoted to creative director. Thank God Miles and Carrie had a little more sense in addressing someone who paid upwards of $100 just to hear them talk. And they answered quite honestly. She would have had extra outfits in her room or in her locker, and her tiara would have been in the same room as the unconscious Ruby, so Crow could have easily grabbed it. It's not hard to be courteous to paying customers, especially ones that aren't actively being assholes. Yet. It's for the best that creators not get too involved with their communities. They should be willing to answer questions and defend their creative decisions. You can just say, "Oh, I didn't have time," or "Oh, we didn't have the budget for that." That's usually 90% of what goes wrong in productions anyway. Maybe if everything stops mixing the way it has been, everyone will start to calm down. Or maybe things will get worse. Point is, even if the specifics are different, RWBY isn't special and it never was. And there's nothing that has happened in this fandom that I haven't seen a dozen times over. And that's all I really wanted to say with this video. I'm Mediocrity4, thanks for watching.